Reminder, all visitors, please sign in with names and addresses at the podium. You all got a copy of the minutes before tonight's meeting. Is there any additions or subtractions that need to be made? With there being none, then we'll move forward. Whole business, Parks Board Resolution 2023-09, amending Park Board Resolution 2022-10, golf cart loan. Jan?
We were $18 off. So so we had, we're okay this year because we had separated it, and so the golf fund had the money and we had the money, so everything was okay. But we got to get this fixed so that future years are covered. So anyway, yeah, we were $18 off. I don't know how that happened, but we were. So this adds $18 to the annual payment for the non-reverting golf operating fund. And that's really all there is to it. It's just a housekeeping thing more than anything.
Questions or comments?
The only thing is, this is an amendment, and it's got me listed as vice president at that point in time, so it should have
Need to change that.
So
Jason on there.
I'm sorry I didn't pay attention to that.
Yep.
That's what I'm here for, Jan. Always.
Jason on there?
Always
Yeah,
watching.
Jason's on there. Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to need to be changed.
We're crossing you out, Mike, and as vice president, and Jason as.
Any other questions? We have a motion to accept Parks Board Resolution 2023-09 with the changing of Jason Crittenden to Vice President and scratching it from Mike McCord's name.
Scratch me out.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Parks Board Resolution 2023-09 is passed.
Thank you.
New business, Jan?
Park Board meeting dates for 2024. This is the second Wednesday of every month at 5:30. Is that still going to work out okay for you guys, everybody? We're good with that?
Yep.
All right, we'll just keep that going. Please, if you'll approve those, I'd appreciate it.
Do we have a motion to approve the Logansport Parks Board meeting dates for 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay.
Next one is we have a MOU with Redline Equipment for the anticipated purchase or display of a tractor, Christmas in the Park tractor with Santa Claus riding it, and looks like a pretty neat little. It's like 15 foot high, I think is what it is. It's a nice one. They just wanted to have some kind of an agreement between the parks and them, so that's what this is. So they are paying $24.75 every year for the year 23, 4, and 5, and then it actually becomes ours. If the Christmas in the Park were to ever shut down permanently, the display would revert back to Redline Equipment, and I don't think that's an unreasonable request. So.
Nope.
That's nice.
Questions? Comments? With there being none, do we have a motion to accept the memorandum of understanding for Redline Equipment Logansport for the tracking and Christmas in the Park.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next up.
And then we would like to hire permanently Anastasia Behringer as a full-time maintenance assistant. She's actually been on since the beginning of October. Yeah, so we missed it last month. So we should have had this last month. But anyway, Anastasia has proven herself to be very valuable, especially with landscaping.
We need that, that's for sure.
We really needed
Yeah.
that person, so.
Not that you don't have a green thumb, Kevin, but
No, but she's been working on different projects in her own life, is, doing, home improvements and things like that, so she can do a lot of different things that, we can use that, so, anyway, she starts at $15 an hour, I believe, or is it 16?
16.
Okay,
actually.
$16 an hour. And like I said, she's a full-time person, so anyway. She's already shown herself worth her weight in gold. She's great.
okay, good. Do we have a motion to approve the hire of Anastasia Behringer as the maintenance assistant?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You have your assistant.
Okay, awesome. So before I get started on my regular management report, we just received this like at 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's the first draft for the master plan that's gonna go to the DNR. You'll see, that, I still have lots of reviews to do, and I think he sent it to all of you guys too. So, if you would please take a gander at it. He was hoping to have all of us comment by next Monday. I realize that's short notice, but it's the way this works. The 15th is next Wednesday, so, anyway. The contents have the agency profile, our facilities inventory, the community profile, all the public participation information, our plan of action resolutions and approvals, which are not there right now. Those are ones we'll do once we have a final document. So there is also an executive summary. There's the planning area map. I noticed this afternoon we need to get the Dunwoody Park. It doesn't go all the way to the alley, so we need to get that cleared up. They originally had Flory Preserve over here, all the way over here too, but we got that fixed. Anyway, these are the master plan goals that we've established at this point, 7 goals. Improving general maintenance and upkeep of all Parks Department managed properties. Provide new amenities and/or facilities as documented through the completed surveys. Enhance Riverside Park to be a regional destination and to accommodate different programs. Promote and educate the public about park programs, people, and issues. Enhance program activities for children ages 10 to 14, families, and senior citizens. Repurpose unused pieces of park land to private development or better park uses. And improve connectivity and programming at Dykeman Park Municipal Golf Course so that it may also be a regional destination for Cass County. So, right now, that's our goals for the next 5 years, so. That can still change, I guess. That's what we'll be talking about. Our profile, I gotta work on the pictures. That's one thing I went through here, Kara and Kevin. I was like, all these pictures are not the greatest. So, the benchmark survey is, or the comparison is extremely important to what we're doing. And the one thing when we had our discussion with them here a couple weeks ago, it was really obvious how poorly we're funded, how poorly we're staffed compared to where we should be. And so in this document on benchmarking really shows that in comparison to other communities. It also points out all the different things that we don't have, that we probably should, in terms of, look at it here, Logansport has none of those things. Arenas, aquatic center, community center, nature center, performance amphitheater, rec center, senior center. Although we have a senior center, it's just not operated by the parks. A teen center, we don't have any of those things. And so we're really inadequate in those regards. This number here, the full-time equivalent, we have 13. That includes all of our part-time people. I mean, when you add all the part-time people, let me back up. 13, that's how many staff people we actually have right now. But per 10,000 residents, it only works out to about 7. Most cities have, for a population with our size of acreage, I'm going to go all the way over here to 19. We should have 19 people. So, budget. Our budget this year was $1.1 million, including that includes the golf course, that includes our parks non-reverting operating fund, and then our parks general fund and the pools general fund. Let's see, where does it show it? Okay, down here, per operating expenditures per capita, $57. All cities are 104. Population served, 117. 10 to 19 parks, $89. 250 acres maintained, less than 250 is 102. Yeah, we're not there at all. We're at least half of what everybody else is where we should be. So, I mean, when you want to sit down and talk and work these numbers, it's really interesting to look at them. So, in our capital budget, $700K for 5-year capital budget spending, we should be at $2 million. That's just capital funding. But they've discussed a bunch of information that will be really good for grant applications and things like that when we're talking about low income. And the one thing that they talked about was Alice, and I don't remember, is that back up here somewhere? Oh. No, Alice is in the demographics. When it gets to talking about demographic. Well, anyway, so this goes through all of our different properties. It identifies everything as we. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. This is 339 pages, 339 pages, a lot. But I got to fix the pictures, or give them better pictures or something. I don't know, any questions or thoughts or?
I would just say that what stuck out to me is, I mean, oftentimes we hear criticisms about our parks are run down or we're not maintaining things like that. That's where this dollar stuff comes into play. And you've got other communities and you see how much more money those communities are putting into their parks. It makes it a lot easier to maintain things and to fix things and that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, it kind of, you know, people have sensed it in the community and said, hey, we think this is not improving or whatever. I think that this supports that, you know, yeah.
And I was just curious, what was our first established park or our oldest park?
I think it was Riverside in 1876. Anyway, it's your job to go through it.
All 339.
Yeah, get through every 339 pages. And, if you have that, you don't have to. Just try to review it and see what things you think need to be fixed, or especially if we're reporting that kind of information. I would think certainly the community inventory or community profile, if you see something in there that needs to be redone, or agency profile, I guess I'll make sure that that's done right. But that community profile is you should have a chance to make that better known. And then, of course, most of it is, and this is the household income. What did they, here's the Alice. Asset limited, income constrained, employed populations, meaning people have a full-time job, but they're still struggling to do the normal things most people are able to do with healthcare, even food constraints, or getting their kids clothing and things like that. So they're saying here that Eel Township has 52% of our households are Alice households. And, that reflects in the things that you've told us numerous times, Mike, about free and reduced lunches and things like that. So that goes along with that.
Now, the schools are at 67% free and reduced lunch, which means there's some level of economic problem, which means you have roughly 7 out of every 10 kids are receiving some free breakfast, free lunch, free backpacks, and free summer meals because their families are at a low economic level. So, which I always say is why the parks are so important, because these families don't have the opportunity to go to New York or Florida or to Disney World or wherever. Our
right.
park is their source
This
of
is their
family
source.
recreation.
Yeah. And it also means that's why we got to keep our program fees either free or low cost as much as possible. As much as we'd like to charge everybody what it's worth, really, we just can't, we won't get the numbers we need to get. So,
And you don't want to exclude anybody. You don't want any family not to be able to use it because of money.
and you'll see that information here in that profile here. Oh, this was kind of interesting how people are spending their money. SPI, I can't remember what the spending potential index. Okay, based on latest. Anyway, you'll just have to read that one. Okay, I don't know. Any questions or additional thoughts?
No, not until we have a chance to go through it. So,
Okay.
We may want to, just a thought, call together, we have to the 15th, call
Yeah.
together like the mayor, city council, new city council members, new mayor, I think that
Well, we have plenty of time to. I mean, this is
we
just
can
a first draft.
electronically send it to those people, but I think we need to, the people are going to take office in January 1. What we ran to before was, here's our goals, and a new mayor comes in and says, but these are my goals. And so you've got a 5-year plan, and you've got a 4-year mayor, and we need to be on the same page, or at least to say, here's where we're at. If you have a different vision for the parks, tell us now before we turn this in.
Well, this is the first draft, so
Oh, okay.
we can make changes.
I thought we
The
had.
final draft will have to be due April 15th.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought that was
this is
when
the first
DNR
draft.
needed it. Okay.
And it just,
Oh, we got plenty of time.
we got plenty of time.
Oh, we got all the time in the world.
We'll be
No,
halfway
but
through the plan.
you're right about getting it off to people so they can see it. I don't have an issue with that. It's just, I don't have everybody's email addresses yet. but,
Right. I
would
just
have
thought in the
something
past, I've seen it where there were times when we have this large Hispanic population, we talked about soccer fields and that kind of stuff in these master plans. And then, when you get, and it's with every mayor, it's not just these current guys. They come in and say, this is my dream. And it's like, yeah, but we did the study. Well, why do the study if you don't have, kind of an indication of what things are important to people?
Well, I guess I feel like we do have that through the survey, so we know
Right.
what's important to
And then,
people.
then there's people coming into office. No, I feel like as if the last time our mistake we made was we didn't really present it until somebody started saying, "Here's my ideas." And we said, "Wait a minute, we got this master plan," and the mayor wasn't even aware, or whoever, the city council weren't aware that master plan was out there, or whatever, because they were new.
Okay,
Just
well,
like we-
then here's all the goals and the strategic activities, or action steps, I guess, for 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years. Because if you remember, the last five-year master plan had these huge charts, this way and this way, and they were really difficult and cumbersome. And so we're trying to get this so that it's easy to read and help us to really focus on what can happen in these next few years. So anyway, so all 7 of those goals are here.
On that list of parks, did that have the ones that we were kind of forced to save?
They're still on there.
They're still on there, yeah.
Okay.
But if you'll see, here's the repurposing. We've talked about Patriot Park, Burkhart Park, Dunwoody, and Melbourne. Those were the 4 that we just, I think there was one more. What was it?
Shut
There
down.
was 5, and I can't remember what the 5th one was now.
I don't know, but the one thing I've been trying to talk about is Burkhart Park, making that into some sort of a games park with a giant chessboard and small chessboards, and just maybe with a little water feature and a big mural on the wall that's there. So take out all vegetation. So anyway. And then really the golf course, we're already on target for several of those. We just we're getting new carts on a regular basis. New cart paths are going to happen next year. We've got our fundraising goal and working with we're already halfway done on that one actually. So we're doing pretty good. So
Okay.
we're working in the right direction. So.
All right.
Okay, then Christmas in the park. I'm gonna let Kevin report on that because all the actions with Kevin mostly. So anyway, and then my management report. Let me just double check and see what else I've got some stuff highlighted.
Touch on Spencer Park. But
So we did get an affirmative vote on the cart path request with Cass County government. So they are providing $150,000 this year and another $150,000 next year to get our cart paths done, which is an amazing commitment from the county to the city. I'm really excited about that. We have 10 of the 18 T-Box sponsorships have commitments. 10, right, Kyle? Okay. And we did meet last week. Well, let me back up. We started the general campaign. Kevin's been out, or Kyle's been out, really visiting lots of people, getting the information out. So we're just waiting to see what people want to do here for the end of year donations. We also had a meeting last week to discuss the financing, what it's going to take to secure a BOT construction project vendor and all that. So coming along. So we just talked about we just came along with the master plan information. So the Lower Spencer Shelter, KJG reported that they did re-inspect the structure and no new damage was discovered beyond what was identified in our 22 report. They're currently designing, detailing repairs and reinforcements to the structure. They're planning to do drawings by November 17th to Steinberger to get their pricing and get it reviewed by the building commissioner. Then I need to have them have this ready for the park board meeting. I think our meeting's the 13th of December. So I'm hoping those will be ready by then. Those costs are cut, and so we'll know where we're at. Just FYI, they'll probably try to do some repairs over the winter, but mostly they're planning on having it back open May of '24. So, the Spencer Park sidewalk was supposed to be replaced at the end of October. Now it's at the end of November, and so hopefully soon. We're looking forward to that. We have received donations of $15,500 for Christmas in the Park. Part of that is the Red Line commitment too. So supplies for installation are arriving. We met with the welding class last week. We met with the video classes at the Career Center to work on promotional videos, and the park is now closed. And Christmas in the Park opens on the 24th. I do my first radio thing tomorrow at Talk of the Town, so I'm going to remember that. We met with Shepler Construction to talk about the redoing that Dykeman West restroom. He said that he's waiting on others to give him their quotes. So we'll see. Probably sometime next week is when we'll know for sure. We did have a Eagle Scout, prospective Eagle Scout, Elijah Beard. He completed work on the nature trail at Dykeman. It's on the very west end of the Dykeman Park, and they did a great job. So we're very pleased with that. Kylie Langley did her article about Christmas in the Park preparations, and since Dean is unable to be here tonight, I did tell him that our season tickets are up by $25, or 25 numbers of 25. Dollar rounds are up 1,500. Daily rounds are up by 1,800, and cart rentals are up by 25K for an overall increase in our revenues at the golf course. So that's good because our bills are about that much more.
Well, if this weather would continue like this in November, he could be $100,000 over where he was
that'd
last
be
year.
nice. That'd be nice.
So
Anyway,
so far so good. We're a week in, and the diehard golfers will still play next week as long as the sun's out and it's 50. So. Okay. All right.
Sarah?
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Sat long enough to get a little energy back.
Good.
We were both really waning earlier. It was been a very, very busy month. So last month, along with attending 5 million meetings, we just had a really busy October, and so I hosted a couple of Park in a Boxes. One with Michelle Allen from Cass County Rocks. That was an evening Park in a Box. It's always really well attended, and I think we'll keep doing it, maybe even do it in the spring break, if I can talk Michelle into it. But people come and they paint rocks. This time we had more families come than last time, and our target audience is people walking over to Riverside. And so we have this group of kids that comes every single time, and this time they brought mom, and it was really sweet and fun. And Stand Up Cass County had given us some goodie bags to hand out with coloring books and crayons, and so that was a great opportunity to work with community partners. And then we hosted spooky plants with plant therapy at Dykeman. and it was a lot of fun. The kids really got to touch and feel a lot of, like cattails and just different plants that they may not have seen before, and even worms. She brought worms, and I thought it was funny because you had the perfect scream from little kids, and I loved it. But some of them, may never have touched a worm before. And my favorite event, I think, it might replace Daddy-Daughter Dance because it was so much fun, was Howl at the Moon. And I'm calling it the Folly Price Yaks event because our families all helped. Jan and her boys, and Kevin and Trista and the kids, and my husband and daughter, we all came, and Matt Franklin from the maintenance crew. We did hay rides. We had Forrest Hamilton out with his large telescope. It was a little cloudy that night, but we got some really great glimpses of the moon. And
Some people got to see Saturn.
I didn't
Did you
get
get to see Saturn?
I didn't get to see Saturn, but
Some people did.
Jan sang on the hayride the entire time, and had some fun with that. And
I
Sam
came home with some bugs.
Yeah, she ended up with some chiggers. Sam actually sat at the fire and played his music and actually talked music with a lot of people, and they really enjoyed that because Sam is a wealth of knowledge. And then we were, roasting marshmallows. We had cider donated by McClure's, and so it was really a fun event to work together with a lot of community partners. And I think people just have fun. Ammon and his family were there, and
We had good fun. We had a good time.
I think it was just fun, and so I think it might go down as one of our favorites. We celebrated Red Ribbon Week with Stand Up Cass County. We put some red ribbons on the signs. Most of them are still out because they're so pretty. I don't have the heart to take them down. And I thought those could be Christmassy. You know what I mean? And so, otherwise, I'm just working on Breakfast with Santa and gingerbread house competition. Also, we're planning the preview night, which is media night, and so that's coming up. Staying very busy.
You should have got an invitation to that already.
Yes.
What day is that?
Monday the 20th.
Yeah, so.
That's it's for our sponsors, board members of both this board and the foundation board, and and media is the other group, so that they can start getting some pictures and things like that. So
And we have hot cocoa from Woodbridge. So if you've never had Mike Huffer's hot cocoa,
oh my gosh,
you're looking for a treat. It's worth coming.
it's
just
the
for
best hot cocoa I've ever had.
It's totally worth it. But I'm trying to think what else. Oh, bring your kids, grandkids, uncles, cousins, whoever to Breakfast with Santa and gingerbread house competition. But thank you. Do you guys have any questions?
Is the November 20th, is that 6 p.m.?
Yes.
6 to 7? Okay. I saw it, but I don't remember.
At the park? Yeah.
Yes, and if you could, we would like you to park across the street, since there's no parking. It's a walk-through night, or at Cass Plaza. I remembered something, Jan.
Thank you. Anything else?
Kevin.
All right, visitors' comments.
Kevin,
Yes, Kevin.
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin, come on up. I forgot. Well, didn't want you to waste any more of your energy. You've been busy all day long with Christmas in the park.
Well, I am happy to report Christmas in the Park is coming right along. We've had some very beautiful weather for it. Servicescape, the company that we work with, are able to start a little bit Sunday evening. Worked 2 really full days until about 6:30 last night to get the last bit of what they do for us. And then my crew has been diligently working on all the silhouettes and RGB tunnels and all that good stuff. So we are moving right along for sure. So that's been, taking up a lot of our time. But before that, of course, October is the time that we had a nice little cold chill, and we got the bathrooms all closed up pretty quickly. We were trying to push them back a little bit later this year, but unfortunately with, 20-degree weather, we had no choice but to really take them down. So, of course, all of our bathrooms are shut down now, and now we're experiencing warm weather. So.
And I do again want to thank you guys for prolonging Fairview one more day so we could get ready at the
Absolutely.
Babe Ruth Park.
So that was a pretty big part of October, and then of course, lead season for us is pretty big, and on top of that, with everything going on, also the golf course and the new bathroom kind of trying to be established back there, we took that opportunity to start the back pavilion there. Just needed some new paint and just a little bit of upkeep, and so the guys stripped that building down and repainted it and got the new trim in, and it looks a lot better. And for a building that sits back there and doesn't really get used a lot, it's bringing some life back into it and looks great. And hopefully we'll get a new bathroom back there and kind of get that park nice. It's never been a bad park. It's just a very unused park. So
Yep,
other than that, yeah, we've just been
busy,
busy.
busy.
Very interesting.
You got your demo done at the,
Oh yeah, that's it. Dog
Park.
park too. We got all our demolition done. We're still. I'm thinking. I don't want to speak on record about it, but I think Alphen is still going to pour concrete for the ADA handicap accessibility to the park. So we removed all of the concrete, and that's all ready to be prepped. All the electrical and water lines have been dug and put into the park, so all the foundation, all the prep work is done. Once the temperature actually does drop, we will be tilling and seeding the whole area with RTF, a very robust type of grass. So when our dogs are in there, it'll mitigate the dirt patches and stuff. It's a very healthy grass. So we'll try to do that maybe December, January, so the grass doesn't seed, and then come springtime, it'll pop up for us.
Well, unless the weather people don't have a handle on the weather, I have a pretty good feeling that Lobbins is going to get to that this year.
I believe he's going to get to it, and that's what he was saying. He's feeling pretty confident. So we're really on track with that. We'll be getting back up there after Christmas, and the park is up and going. We'll be doing that grass work and stuff like that, and continuing those projects for sure.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kyle, you have anything to say? No, you're just going to sit back there?
It's now gymnastics.
All right. Well, that works. All right, now visitors' comments. Good evening, Mr. Wilhelm. Nice to see you again tonight.
Good to see you all. I just want to give you an update. I gave an update to the city council the other night. We are still pursuing our petition drive regarding the Iron Horse Museum, of course, and how that would impact into the urban park. For those of you who don't know, the mayor wants to turn it into a public toilet. We're not exactly thrilled with that idea. We've collected almost 1,000 signatures locally on that. We've got letters from local business people. We have letters from people who have donated to the Iron Horse Museum. There have been some misinformation about how all this material would go over to the Cass County Historical Society. I talked with one of their board members who tells me they're not going to be doing a lot of static displays at that location over on Broadway. In fact, it's going to be more of an informational sort of thing with rotating displays. So that's an issue, but we'll be taking petitions to the IEDC in Indianapolis at some point in the future. We're going to be continuing to collect signatures. We're also putting together an alternative proposal for the project that would include a permanent farmers market at 4th and Market, and the museum itself remaining a museum, and then some sort of historical trail that would go through the city that might be something would be under the province of the Parks Board, for example. It might start at the Iron Horse and go on. We actually found that we were doing that not that long ago. There was a downtown map that started and ended at the museum and covered some 30 sites throughout the town, and that would be something that actually could be expanded a little bit to go even all the way over to Riverside Park at some point as part of a walking sort of experience through the downtown. So there's things going on that we're working on, but we will go to IEDC, and we're going to try to present them some sort of alternative proposal. We did find an article that seemed to indicate that the land at 4th and Market was in fact donated by Salem Bank to the city for the express purpose of that being the farmer's market. I've sent a request to Kelly Lehman, city attorney. I haven't made a formal APRA request to him yet, but I've just asked him to clarify because in talking to Mike Fincher, who was mayor back then, he seems to recall that that was in fact the agreement, that we were acquiring that land for that purpose. So there's a lot of moving parts in this. The urban park is not an exactly urgent thing. They have until sometime at the end of 2024 to actually come up with some sort of formal, this is what we're doing type of thing. So I think there's an opportunity to get the community together and come up with something that makes a little bit more sense, and I think most people will agree with. And because you only get a chance to do this one time, to do it right once. And the idea that we're kind of rushing through a lot of this stuff doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It doesn't make a lot of sense to all these people. The other thing is there was a Historic Preservation Commission meeting last month. I think you two were at it. They are talking about designating everything north of High Street to be a historic site. I'm not exactly sure I personally agree with that. I think that if the Spencer Park Pavilion is in fact a historic building, I don't know that declaring everything north of High Street makes a great deal of sense because there's no contributing structures there. I mean, the gazebo might be considered contributing structure, but to encumber everything just to kind of preserve a view or keep it for future development or whatever seems a little bit overboard for me. But they have a meeting tomorrow. I don't believe it's on their agenda for tomorrow. I did look at the agenda. I don't see that that's before them. So I'm suspecting probably that's something they're not going to take up until sometime in December. Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? Step right up. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Elizabeth McQuinn. I live at 1220 East Market, Apartment C. I just had a quick question. Of course, I'm interested in seeing the Spencer Park Pavilion preserved. Has that paint ever been tested for lead?
Paint that's on it right now. Oh.
I mean, the paint that's on there now is probably lead-free because it's only been, I mean, it's probably been 10 years since it's been painted, but it's going to be lead-free.
But the paint below could have.
But if there's something below it, I don't know what you could tell, I don't know what the answer
I
is.
just wondered if it had ever officially been tested. My only
I think so.
question. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Board comments. Eamon?
No comment.
Mike?
I'm going to speak as not a board member, but just some thoughts I've had. I've seen the city council stuff where Paul and Mrs. McQuinn were there and stuff like that. And I think we need to have some kind of a video in that, whether there's restrooms there or not. I think there needs to be a video. I saw John Scott's sign that said there were 216 trains that used to come through here on a daily basis. That blew my mind. I didn't know that. I've heard Mrs. McQuinn talk about the veterans and the Italians and all that kind of stuff. I've heard that stuff. I'm thinking, realistically, when I used to take my kids to the Science and Industry Museum in Chicago, they had a lot of these video presentations. And as much as, all the artifacts I think are really great, but I think the story that's possible, I still kind of see it kind of differently. When you talk to George Franklin from the Logan's Landings and stuff like that, not tons of people now go into that building for the historical value of it. If they're going to go in for a restroom, I still look at like these rest parks where you, on the way to Chicago, you go in there and they have these maps and drawings and talk about the Indians that used to be in the area or whatever, educational as it was. I think there could be some really cool video could be done. We've got Aaron Shaver's sister as some kind of a video something or other. I think it'd be really cool if you had, when you came in there, maybe motion sensitive, so someone come in the restroom, it would come on and tell people about the history of that. I mean, just in the pictures that people have dug up with this 2-story old train building, that some of that stuff, you could actually put it to video, and then people would walk in and when they come out of the bathroom, go, oh, and they might stop and go, oh, look at this, or push a button or whatever, and see about the 216 trains that were there, the stuff. I mean, I guess, to me, I think, you know, it's a building and it's historic, but the story, what has caught me in the stuff that Paul and Mrs. McQuinn have done, it just jived me to say, gosh, if you really want to promote this to people and tell about things, a video would be so great because you could have a long loop that would show this stuff and have people like John's. I mean, you've got a lot of emotional people that have relatives that have worked on the railroad and they're going to be passing away. So we could videotape some of these people talking about the good old days and when they worked on the railroad. I mean, someone, you know, I think John Scott talking about how people, you know, a lot of guys lost their arm, you know, on the railroad and stuff like that because it was kind of a dangerous job. I just think there, you know, and if you did a video there, you could have it both at that depot. You could also have a video at the museum or the old Salem Bank, or that part of the museum. So if they are thinking about not keeping the relics like they could, I mean, it would be better to have some relics and then have this video telling our story. And so I guess I just want to toss it out there to say, you know, I have a strange view on stuff. I always say this, I always think about customers and that kind of thing. But to me, you know, getting the traffic to come in for these festivals, and to go to use the bathroom, and then to go, oh, wow, and sit there like my kids would, they'd explain how a toilet works or something at the Science Museum, but they would sit there and see our story, you know, because otherwise we're going to, you know, historic buildings are great, but the story, I'm just fascinated by the stories from the people about those days. I mean, 216 trains a day, and they were from 9 different directions and all this kind of stuff. That could be done on a video, and now you preserve that forever. You know, still people are going to be interested to see the various tools of the trade of the railroad stuff. I just having listened to a couple different meetings you guys talk, it just kind of inspired me to think, you know, if we're going to do this, now a restroom's a great thing because people use restrooms. They would come in, the motion sensitive, the thing kicks on, and they see about our history. So just a thought, and one other thing I'd say, I don't know if I ever mentioned this group before, when I was on the Redevelopment Commission years and years ago during Mayor Fincher's time, I was the school board representative at that point in time, and the RDC approved the money along with, they were going to $65,000 that could come from Little Turtle, and the rest was going to be to the restrooms, and they were going to use the plumbing that was there because there were problems with the Salvation Army building even back then. They were going to build restrooms and a small concession area, and it was approved. We changed mayors. The next mayor came in and said, I'm going to rescind all those things were done. They fired the entire redevelopment commission, except for me, because I was a school board member. I couldn't get fired. And so then they put in city council members, and they basically stepped back. We could have a restroom there today if it wasn't for the fact that a mayor came in and said, I don't like it. We're going to put the policemen's weightlifting equipment in there instead. So, you know, Little Turtle had offered $65,000. They had the money all approved to do restrooms down there. And that was in Fincher's time. So you had, what was after that? You had Teddy, so 4 years. Kitchell, 4 years. Not 4 more years. So we had 12 years that you could have restrooms there. The last 12 years had, and the money was appropriated. So I look at that thinking, oh my gosh. I mean, so it's just kind of a weird thing, but just as a historical reference, this is how crazy stuff happens. You know, where we could not be talking about this, you know, depot toilet and, you know, poop trains, that kind of stuff, if we would have just done it 12 years ago. And the money was there. You know, right now money's, you know, I know now they're struggling because I know that Logan Landing can't afford to maintain that building. They don't have any money. I mean, they came to the RDC. The RDC paid to have a painter paint the depot, which is a gray area because normally RDC money doesn't go towards nonprofit groups, and the Logan's Landing it's not the parks that owns that building. I think it's the city, and then the RDC or the Logan's Landing agreed to maintain it or whatever. So that building is maintained. I think right now they're trying to make it so they can kill two birds with one stone, repair the building, get the restrooms, but as I say, just historically, it's, since we talk history a lot of times, it just blows my mind to know that back then it could have been done. And it would not have been in that depot, it would have been in a different location. So anyway, just history.
Can I correct you on one fact?
Sure.
Excuse me, ma'am, you need to come up to the microphone so your comments can be on record,
It's
please.
Miss.
Miss McQuinn, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you have a comment, you need to come up to the microphone.
I'm lucky to remember your last name.
Jason?
Just since we're talking about railroads, just a little personal trivia. My grandfather, George Crittenden, worked on the railroad in eastern Kentucky in the hills. And George and his wife, my grandmother, had 11 children, one of which was my father. His first child, Beulah, was struck and killed by a train. And my grandfather was on that train working that struck and killed her. So sadly, I never got to meet her. I've seen her grave in it's a little town called Haddocks, Kentucky. I've been there, took Dad down there once, but so there's, railroad history for me too. Just doesn't happen to be in Logansport, but I always, every time somebody in the family would tell that story, it was just kind of one of those things you're always going to remember, even though I've never met the woman and it was 100 years ago. So
That's it?
that's it.
Sam?
My grandfather and step-grandfather worked on the railroad here. So just making that comment. It was funny because we went to New York, Ellis Island, and they had 3 judges' stands there, and the immigrants went through, and my grandfather was one of them. And each judge would send them to a different area on which steps to go down, and that's the area of the United States they would ship those people to. And my grandparents got shipped to Logansport to work the railroads.
Cool.
So, just comment, but no other.
Cool.
Thank you.
So for the purpose of the railroad,
Yes, yes.
see, this is a video. I'm here to tell you.
We're right there.
So, before my comment, I have a railroad history question. Wasn't there one of the Kennedy brothers who made a stop in Logansport on a train? Was it Bobby?
Bobby Kennedy.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby Kennedy.
That they stayed at, over at the mayor,
Gene Monahan's.
at Monahan's
Yeah.
house on 15th Street
Yeah, it was,
in Midtown.
yeah,
And we're struggling to get someone to do something with that house.
Yeah.
It's been empty for 10 years.
yeah, I was a little kid, but I vaguely remembered that. It was a big deal for my parents, I know that, so. As usual, I want to thank Jan and Kevin and Kara and Kyle and Dean and Kelly and for all your hard work. It just been one little note. I just been kind of sitting here scribbling on my paper. Even with not being able to use the lower pavilion at Spencer Park through October of this year, we're only down 2 rental pavilions from where we were in 2022. So I think the thing that jumped out at me the most through October was in 2022, the Houston Park Pavilion was used 31 times. This year it's been used 60 times.
Yeah,
That's,
It's been busy.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, it's been busy.
we get the Spencer Park Pavilion taken care of to where we can use it again. It's pretty amazing that pavilion that was used quite a bit, we're only off 2 through the year so far. So we get that taken care of next year, and we'll hopefully be above that.
What's kind of like Paul said too, that, like at Houston, you got a lot of soccer stuff going on, and at Fairview, you got a lot of baseball stuff, and they use those pavilions. It's tough because that pavilion is a standalone. However, it's the most beautiful view of the river. It has the nice air that comes across it, so it's a nice thing. But I agree, it hasn't been even through the years. You guys,
And you think, during the summer, when baseball's going on, people are using that pavilion from the baseball leagues. It's not being recorded as a rental.
Right.
So there's even more use there. So,
Right.
Anyway, okay, with that being said, at 6:26, our meeting is adjourned.